much about it, right? The opioid epidemic,
Yeah.
right? In this area, it seems like for a while it was pretty bad. I know there's different facilities around in this area locally, treatment facilities, rehabilitation facilities, things like that. Is that improving? What are you seeing on your side?
It is improving. I think we're still in somewhat of a crisis.
Yeah.
It is improving. And I think there's a lot of I think there are more resources involved, and I think unfortunately it took a long time to get here.
Yeah.
But I think what was happening, in my opinion, of it was, I think it started as it wasn't an intentional stop, but it was a slippery slope, and a lot of it was medications.
Yeah.
And I think it impacted a lot of families, myself included.
Yeah.
So I think what doctors were doing were, I think they were sold a bill of goods on some of these pain medicines.
Yep.
They were pushing them out
because they were
because they were
being rewarded financially. Is that what?
Yeah. From what I've heard and read and had some conversations with, is some of the doctors were not. They were, say you went in for a knee surgery.
Yeah.
And you were prescribed pain. You would also get a pain survey.
Okay.
So they would send the patient a survey. How are you feeling?
Right.
So the doctor's compensation for the surgery was based on how they performed. And it was based on patient surveys.
And that was part of it.
So if you're on some of the pain medicine, the opioid-based pain medicine, and you're feeling great,
you're feeling fine. Yeah.
Your survey's great, the doctor's getting all their money. So I think that had a root cause in it.
Yeah.
I do believe that, and then it just snowballed because once you're either you're out of the pills, you're moving on to unfortunately the next thing that you could get
and it
at
can
the
happen
time
that
was
fast, right?
was heroin, and now I don't even think heroin is on the street anymore. It's almost everything we're coming across is pure fentanyl,
and that's what's killing people.
And that's yeah.
This is something I don't know much about, right? Why, if it's killing people, right, do people continue to do it? Is it because of the withdrawals? Is it because of the addiction? And is it? I don't understand it, right? So you start with pain medication. It was heroin. Now it's fentanyl. My question is this: all right, fentanyl it's killing people, right? Is it because it's cheaper? Is that why this is in? Is that why?
There's a few. One. In going back to it, in a lot of, I don't want to say I found it interesting, but I would go back to, we'd be arresting people for possession of heroin or possession of fentanyl. They're my age, and I'd go back to them, or professionals, you knew, and so you'd ask them, what happened? Well, I was in a car accident, hurt my back, started on the pain pills, ended up down this road.
Right.
But what it comes down to is the nature of its addiction.
Right.
I think if you asked many of them, I don't think they choose to do it.
Right.
It's.
I don't think anybody would want to live that life.
No, and they don't, and they struggle for that way out. And when we would try to get them, or some of the success is it's a very small window when they have that moment of clarity that you want to get them and get them somewhere, because then now they're ready for it.
Right.
But I've seen overdoses where we're performing CPR and they're brought back by Narcan, by the fire department. They're on their way to rehab. They're on their way to try to get better, but they're getting that last fix before they go. That one last time, and then they overdose. I've heard of things as crazy as overdose parties where, when Narcan became commercially available over the counter, that people would get together and try to overdose so that their friend could Narcan them to bring them back because they wanted to experience that. We've heard of those situations. So I think a lot of it just goes back to the mental illness or the addiction side of it. And then it's talking to other people too. They want to stop, they just can't stop. Whether it's the physical withdrawals, they don't want to be sick, or mentally they can't. They're chasing something
because it's so far down that road, right? That it's hard.
Because the problem is, and and the root cause of some of these things it's not the addiction. It's what are you running from, or what are you hiding? What are you masking? If it isn't just a progression of the unfortunate progression of, you slowly got addicted to the pain medicine.
Right.
A lot of it starts with that there's some kind of trauma in their life that they might be running from, or already have a mental illness.
And that's probably the same as a lot of other addictions, whether it's alcoholism or other things. But this can kill you any day.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
In some of it too, like our overdose deaths are fortunately way down.
Good.
But what we would see sometimes too is somebody would go to rehab, so they're gone for 2, 3, 4 weeks, come out, the addiction's too strong, they try again. Well, they've gone through withdrawals for those weeks. They come out and maybe using the amount of heroin or fentanyl they were using prior to going in, which at that point is too strong of a dose.
Their system now
and then their
handle
system, and we see them that. We've seen a lot of post-rehab overdoses over the years that they're out, they've been clean for a little bit. First day back or first time they go to use again, that's a fatal overdose.
It's so tragic.
Yeah.
It really is so tragic.
You see it, you've lost almost a whole generation. Or not lost them, but that it impacted a big generation. And like I said, my family included. It hit. It wasn't the dark secret that it always maybe had been for years. Or, it was. I think it hit everybody across every socioeconomic status. That Absolutely. It doesn't care who you are, and it just caught everybody. Yeah,
I mean, like you said before, and for a while when it was first, when it first came to light in the community, probably 10 years ago now, maybe a little bit longer. I always thought it would just be like younger people that would be getting into it. And I'm 43, right? And a lot of people that I went to high school with, I'm seeing now. You know what I mean? People are dying.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's so surprising. At first, it was so surprising to me. I'm like, I didn't know this person was into drugs, into this. They weren't.
They weren't
then.
And that's what I was saying. Like, I would go and talk. And that was my interest. Like, how did you get here? How did you get here? You have a career. You have a great family. All signs indicate you should be good. And now you're in my booking room. What is going on?
Yeah.
And that's it. It just for any number of reason.
Yeah. Now, where do you think we go from here with that? What do you think I know there's no immediate solution, but how do we start improving that?
I think obviously it's still out there,
right?
But I think community support. New Hampshire hasn't been great with beds in treatment facilities, but I think treatment facilities are helping.
Yeah.
I think the way that medicine is being prescribed is helping. I think some education. It's not you're not going to turn the switch, hit the switch and turn it off.
Yeah, hopefully.
But I think you're going to grow. With the education component, and I think you'll grow out of it. But I think you're going to have that generation of people that are just stuck in it.
Yeah,
and it's. And some of it's enforcement. We're not going to arrest our way out of this. That's impossible. No. But we need to get it off the street so that it's not available either.
Yeah, absolutely. And people just being aware of this too, and what one prescription can lead to, I think is important. Like I had shoulder surgery 1.5 years ago, right? And they gave me some painkiller, right? And I was like, I'm only taking one of those things. And then I was like, I'm saying, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's something that, hopefully now, because people are seeing where it can go, they're more aware. Even if I had surgery, I needed it, right? Yeah. But so they're not like, taking it more than they should or getting too used to that, I would say to my wife, I think of the first couple of days right after surgery, I had like one a day, and then I was like, let's go Tylenol.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I use ibuprofen.
Yeah.
I'll suffer before I start doing
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I know a lot of people like that.
Yeah, so hopefully that's what a lot of the public is thinking too. Just being aware and saying, listen, that can go sideways real fast. All right, great. Thank you for sharing your perspective on that, because I haven't talked to anybody on the law enforcement side about that, and I think that's interesting for everyone to know where you guys are coming from as well, that you guys are sympathetic to people that have an addiction problem. Nobody wants this. You know what I mean? You guys also want to help solve the
it doesn't do us any good.
No.
It increases shoplifting, it increases people breaking into cars.
Right.
Could increase homelessness. There's so many community concerns that we have that we want to get ahead of it too. But it's not. And it's not just arresting, as I said, you're not going to arrest our way out of this problem.
Right.
It's not just arresting the drug dealers and it's you have to get people better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's where you start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You start with mental health and education, and hopefully we can, we'll see an improvement year after year on that side.
Yeah.